Another year, another budget iPad, and this one truly is hard to argue against. It is the best tablet option for people on a budget and among the best options for students. The 2020 iPad can easily handle any tasks from writing essays and researching topics to gaming, video editing and music production. Hi, I'm Rado with Phone Arena and this is our review of Apple's new budget iPad. Although the new 2020 iPad Air 4 got updated with a fresh modern look similar to the iPad Pro models, the same cannot be said about this budget 2020 iPad. It now has an extremely outdated design with giant top and bottom bezels surrounding its non-laminated display. The lack of lamination means that there is a noticeable gap between the display and the glass covering it. Regardless, even if it is exactly the same iPad as it was last year, at least on the outside, it is still a comfortable iPad to hold and use, as its glass front and aluminum back feel as premium as always. In its top bezel we find the exact same 1.2 megapixel FaceTime camera from last year's budget iPad. In the bottom bezel is a physical home button, which is also a first generation Touch ID fingerprint sensor. On the top side of the 2020 iPad we find a welcome headphone jack and a power button. On the right side are the volume keys and on the left side the smart connector, which is used for connecting the iPad with certain keyboard accessories. The two stereo speakers this iPad has are on its bottom side, which means that they still fail to produce a true stereo experience when watching movies in landscape mode. And finally, on the back of the 2020 iPad we have a proud Apple logo and the same 8 megapixel main camera from last year's budget iPad. Now let's take a look at the display. This 2020 iPad comes with the same 10.2-inch LCD display as last year's budget iPad. It's a nice and sharp screen at a resolution of 2160 by 1620. Because of its 4:3 aspect ratio, it is perfect for desktop internet browsing, writing essays and general productivity, but less than ideal for watching movies and videos. Videos are normally more suited for a widescreen display, so on this iPad you will have to settle for having black bars above and below any movies you may be watching. So if you're after a simple tablet for watching videos, this may not be the ideal one. But if you want a tall display for better productivity and desktop browsing, it is the perfect size. And although this display can get very bright, it's also highly reflective, making it especially hard to see in sunlight. But indoors, even if it hasn't really been updated from last year's budget iPad, this screen is still a joy to look at and interact with, sharp and colorful. When it comes to software, this iPad comes with iPadOS 14 out the box, so there are a few exciting new features to check out. The home screen widgets have been redesigned to take advantage of the large screen, showing more information than before, and several of those widgets can now be stacked on top of one another for quick access. But arguably the most notable new feature, Scribble, involves the Apple Pencil. It allows Apple Pencil users to write with it in any text field, instead of having to switch between the Apple Pencil and an on-screen keyboard. As for the general performance of this iPad, it is impressive, especially considering its price. It now rocks Apple's A12 Bionic chip, which was first introduced in 2019 on the iPhone XS series. This iPad outperforms every other tablet in its price range and, as mentioned earlier, can handle pretty much any tasks you may want to do on iOS. Video editing apps like LumaFusion work perfectly, and so do the many other iPad exclusive professional apps. Adobe Photoshop, Affinity Designer for iPad and Procreate are all available here and not on Android tablets, which is something to consider if you're the creative type. And again, they all run really well here, especially considering that this is a budget iPad. Lastly, multitasking hasn't really changed on iPadOS 14. You can run two apps side by side and a third one in a pop-up window. A video can additionally be played in picture-in-picture. On to battery life. As always, Apple claims up to 10 hours of surfing the web or watching videos, and that's a fair estimate. On a single charge, this iPad lasts me about 9.5 hours of heavy usage, much like last year's budget 10.2-inch iPad did. This means that students and professionals won't need to worry about battery life at all, because the 2020 iPad can and will last a full work day, with enough battery life to spare for a movie watching session afterwards. Finally, let's address the speaker quality and the cameras we have here. The speakers, although loud, lack the punchy and rich sound I've come to expect from 2020 tablets, and the fact that they're both on your right side when watching videos really doesn't make this the perfect tablet for watching movies, as I said earlier. As for the cameras on this iPad, it has the same 8 megapixel main camera and 1.2 megapixel FaceTime camera as last year's iPad. The main one produces acceptable photos and can film at a resolution of 1920 by 1080 at 30 frames per second. You would definitely find your smartphone way more preferable for photo taking and video recording than this iPad. The front camera takes pretty low resolution selfies and is also generally just here for the occasional video call, not much else. And for video calls, it's adequate enough. Thankfully, people aren't really that interested in cameras on tablets. Plus, we've come to accept that poor cameras on budget smartphones and tablets are a given. But the good thing about this new budget iPad is that the most important things such as screen quality and performance are on point. If buying for productivity or for gaming, it will not disappoint. And that's pretty much all about Apple's new iPad. It looks exactly like last year's 10.2-inch iPad, but internally it has been upgraded. But overall, it's nowhere near a significant leap forward. It is still the cheapest iPad and it is still the most powerful tablet at this price range. Feel free to subscribe to Phone Arena for more tech-related videos. I'm Rado, thank you for watching.